Hey there. Are you going through a situation that seems impossible to fix? Are you wondering how God will make a way because all the options seem impossible? Mary and Martha had a similar experience. If you go to the book of John, chapter 11, we meet Lazarus with his sisters Martha and Mary. The Bible says Lazarus became sick. And so the sisters sent word to Jesus because he was their friend. And they said, "The one whom you love is sick." When you look at verse 4, Jesus responds and says, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Verse 5 goes on to say that Jesus stayed 2 more days where he was before he went to Lazarus. And so you would wonder why he would do this after he had been told that your friend is sick. Sometimes God's actions can be confusing for us. We may expect him to act in one way and then he does not, and then we wonder why and start to think maybe he doesn't care. But we have to trust that God always knows what he's doing and he's in control of the situation and he knows the best way to handle it. So when he finally gets to Bethany, they let him know that Lazarus has been in the tomb for 4 days. So Lazarus had died. And the sisters say to him, "Lord, if you had been here, our brother would not have died." You understand how they feel, because now that their brother was dead, they didn't think that anything could be done. They were limiting God in their expectation because they believed that the only way that their brother could have been restored to them was through healing. But Jesus knew that death was not the end. He had said earlier that this sickness will not end in death. So even though it went through death, death was not the end. So Jesus goes on to raise Lazarus from the dead and he is restored to them. I want you to notice a few things in this story. The sisters were limiting God in their expectations. They were limiting him to what they had experienced him as before. They knew that Jesus could heal. And so in their expectations, they were limiting him to that. Also, they were limiting him to their understanding. Now that he was dead, nothing could be done. There was no other way that their brother could be restored to them. And so it's kind of like us. We think we know how God should resolve our situation. And when he doesn't do it that way, then we lose hope and think it's over. We are limiting God. So I want to encourage you today that even if your situation looks hopeless, even if it looks like it's gotten to the point where we can say it's dead, with the Lord, that's not the end. God is also resurrection. That's what he was trying to show them here, that you're limiting me to being a healer, but I am also resurrection. So in your situation as well, I want you to think about the ways in which you may be limiting God in your expectation because you think he has done it this way before. Now that he hasn't done it, maybe he's not doing anything. Or with your understanding, you think, well, the possible ways that he could have saved me now no longer apply. So nothing can be done. Don't limit God in your expectations. You have to remember who you're dealing with here. In Exodus 17, verse 5 to 6, God brought water from a rock when the children of Israel needed water in the desert. In the book of Joshua 10, verse 12 to 14, when Joshua needed more time to fight his enemies, God stopped the sun. In Matthew 14, verse 13 to 21, Jesus fed 5,000 men. This number does not include the women and the children, from 5 loaves and 2 fish. See, don't even try and figure out how that happened because that's going to be confusing for you. It's not going to make sense. That's the kind of God that we're dealing with. In Matthew 17, verse 27, when they needed to pay their taxes, Jesus got money from the mouth of a fish. So he has his ways of providing that if we try and figure out, we're not going to manage to. We're just going to get confused. Even in this situation, expect him to surprise you. That same God who raised Lazarus from the dead is the same God who is available for you today. And he can still turn things around, even though it looks like it's too late. He is the God who specializes in the impossible situations. So be encouraged and stay in peace while you allow him to be God. He says, "Be still and know that I am God." Even in this situation, be still and allow him to be God. Be encouraged.